The grand hall of the Galactic Council was silent, too silent. Not a single human voice echoed across the polished floors. Not a single Earth flag moved in the artificial breeze. The human seats, once filled with debate and fire, were now cold and empty. High Chancellor Vorik stood in the center, his green eyes twitching with worry. "They're not answering," he said softly, his long fingers gripping the edge of the console. "We've sent messages, envoys, gifts, nothing." Councillor Lear, a tall insectoid from the Zagrath species, buzzed nervously. "Maybe they're preparing something," she whispered. "Humans don't go quiet unless they're planning something big." The last time humanity had gone quiet, they had erased a pirate fleet in under 60 seconds. Another time, they had rebuilt an entire moon into a weapon and said nothing until it fired. Silence from humans wasn't peace. It was a warning. But this time it was different. There were no ships around Earth, no signals, no signs, no threats. Just nothing. Ambassador Tilgar, an ancient amphibious diplomat, finally spoke. "Maybe they left," he said slowly. "Maybe they walked away from the council." Vorik laughed, but the sound was hollow. "Humans don't just walk away from the galaxy," he said. "They fight, they protest, they shout, they don't go quietly." Yet here they were, gone. 10 days earlier, the Council had tried to pass the Omega Treaty, a law that would have stripped Earth of its autonomy. Humans warned them. Their representative stood in this very hall and said 5 chilling words. "If you push, we vanish." The Council pushed anyway, and now Earth had vanished. Not a trace remained. "Perhaps we overplayed our hand," murmured Lear. Vorik didn't respond. He just stared at the button in the center of the table. It was red. It was flashing. The emergency reconnect button, a signal meant only for when the galaxy was falling apart. It had never been used before, until now. "Should we press it?" someone asked. Vorik hesitated. "If they're gone," he said, "then what happens when we try to pull them back?" "Maybe they'll come back," said another voice. "Maybe they'll forgive us." But no one believed that. Humans didn't forgive betrayal. Not easily, not silently. Outside the council chambers, the universe seemed normal. But far beyond known space, something stirred. In the deep black beyond the reach of any map, a massive ship floated, silent and alone. It was unlike anything the council had ever seen. Black as shadow, larger than moons, powered by something not yet understood. On its bridge stood a human, Commander Era Voss. She watched the council's signal blink across her console. The reconnect button had been pressed. Too late. "They want us back," said her second-in-command. Era didn't blink. She only whispered, "They never wanted us, not really." Back in the Grand Hall, the council waited, but the signal they sent out came back with only one message, a single word: no. The screen went dark. The hall fell silent again, and in that silence they finally understood. Humans were gone, and the council had just pressed the wrong button. The silence before the storm. The Galactic Council Hall stood tall and glowing on the golden planet of Varela. Every race in the galaxy had a seat in the hall. Aliens with wings, others with tentacles, some made of light. But today, something felt wrong. The human seat was empty. Not just empty, but untouched. No guards, no aides, no ships nearby, nothing. High Chancellor Vorik walked to the center of the hall, his long cloak dragging behind him. He looked at the empty human section and narrowed his glowing green eyes. "Where are the humans?" he asked sharply. "Why is there no message, no signal, no noise?" Councillor Lear, a towering, insect-like alien, buzzed nervously. "They've been silent for 3 cycles," she said. "We tried every channel, nothing." Ambassador Tilgar, old and wise with skin like smooth stone, leaned forward slowly. "Humans don't go silent," he said with a deep voice. "When they're quiet, it means something is coming." 3 weeks ago, the Council voted on the Omega Law. It was a law meant to take control of Earth's military power. They said it was for peace. But humans didn't believe that. Earth's ambassador warned them. He stood in the middle of this hall and said only 5 words. "If you push, we vanish." Then he left. No more messages, no more talks. At first the Council laughed. They thought humans were bluffing. But then their embassy closed. Earth's moon station went dark, trade ships turned back, and Earth stopped responding. Now the Council felt uneasy. "Maybe they're hiding something," whispered a voice. "Maybe it's a trap," said another. Vorik slammed his hand on the table. "We are the Council," he shouted. "We hold power over the stars." But still the silence from Earth grew louder, like a warning bell that no one could unhear. Suddenly, a young technician ran into the hall. He was panting, sweating, afraid. "Chancellor," he gasped, "we found something." The screen in the hall lit up. A black dot floated in deep space. No ID, no signature, no known technology, just darkness. And it was moving fast. "What is it?" asked Lear, her wings twitching. The technician swallowed. "It came from Earth's direction," he said, "but Earth isn't there anymore." The entire hall went silent. "What do you mean?" Tilgar asked slowly. "There's no signal, no orbit, no surface," the technician said. "It's like the planet disappeared." The Council stared at the screen. One by one, they felt fear crawling up their spines. Humans had warned them. Now they were gone, and something else had taken their place. "Activate the reconnect protocol," Vorik ordered. A red button flashed at the center of the table. It was never used before. It sent a direct message to Earth's leaders, one that no one could ignore, or so they thought. They pressed the button, a bright light shot out into the stars, and they waited. 1 second, 10 seconds, a minute, still nothing. Then the screen blinked. A message appeared, only one word: no. That was it. No voice, no reply, no forgiveness, just no. Across the stars, far beyond any known map, a ship unlike anything in the Council's history hovered in the void. Black, massive, silent, no heat, no light, no signal, only purpose. On the bridge stood a woman in a black uniform, Commander Ira Voss of the Earth Exodus Fleet. She looked at the message from the Council. She saw the red signal trying to call them back. She smiled, but her eyes were cold. "They pushed the button," her officer said quietly. Ira nodded. "Too late," she replied. "They made their choice." Back in the Council hall, fear spread like wildfire. "What do we do now?" someone whispered. Vorik said nothing. He stared at the red button, still blinking, still ignored. Humans had left. Not with war, not with fire, but with silence. And that silence was louder than any weapon. The ship with no flag. The first time they saw it, no one believed it was real. A black object, larger than a moon, drifted through the outer rim. It had no name, no ID, and no known origin. Yet it moved with purpose, cutting through space like a silent blade. Captain Zurok of the Trenthari Patrol Fleet was the first to report it. He sent a warning signal back to the Council. "This thing, it doesn't respond, doesn't hail, doesn't slow down," he said. "We scanned it 5 times and each scan returned different results. The scan showed nothing inside, then too much. Then it broke the scanner. No heat, no life, no signature. It was like the ship was made of secrets." Counselor Lear stared at Tisses. He reported with shaking hands. "This can't be human," she whispered. "But it came from Earth's last known path." "Maybe it's one of theirs," Tilgar muttered. "But not from now." "What do you mean?" asked Vorik, rising from his chair. Tilgar turned slowly, his ancient eyes heavy. "There were rumors," he said, "centuries ago, when humans first joined the Council. They had a project, something hidden." Lear leaned in. "What kind of project?" Tilgar paused. "They called it the Silent Ark. Back in the stars, the mysterious ship was approaching a Council observation post. The officers inside the station panicked. "Should we hail it?" one asked. "No response again," the other replied. "Is it charging weapons?" "No weapons detected. No shields either. No sound, only movement." But just before the ship passed the station, something terrifying happened. All systems in the station went offline. Cameras died, lights cut, gravity vanished. Then everything came back, except the data, every record, every file, every transmission, erased. The ship kept going, slow, unstoppable, like a shadow that didn't need light. The Council called an emergency meeting. "This is a threat," said one voice. "No," Vorik said. "This is a message." Lear looked confused. "A message?" "Yes," Vorik replied. "They're showing us what we never understood. That silence is not weakness. It's strength." The Council ordered fleets to intercept the unknown ship. 6 warships from 6 different species moved to block its path. They surrounded it, weapons ready, and hailed it again. "Unknown vessel, identify yourself." No answer. Unknown vessel, you are entering restricted council space. Silence. Then, all 6 ships lost control, their engines shut down, their lights faded, their weapons refused to fire. Within seconds the ship moved past them. Not a single shot was fired, but the message was clear. You can't stop us. Commander Era Voss watched from the bridge of the Silent Ark. The crew around her worked in total coordination. No orders, wow, so her. Spoken, everyone already knew what to do. They had trained for this day for years, Era whispered to herself. They think this is about revenge. She looked at the stars ahead. But it's about truth. Back in the council hall, a new message arrived. It wasn't from the ship. It was from a human satellite that had just activated in the dark space near the old Earth coordinates. The message was simple. It said, "We warned you," and beneath it, another line, "We are not coming back." For the first time in centuries, the council felt powerless. The humans had left no war behind, no army, no flames, only silence, and a ship that erased everything it passed, not out of hate, but out of choice, a choice to be gone, and now the galaxy had to live with that silence and wonder. What happens when the Silent Ark stops being silent? The forbidden recording, the transmission was never meant to be found. It wasn't listed in the council database. It wasn't labeled or traced. It simply appeared, unmarked, on the screen of an old diplomat's console. Ambassador Relic of the Oryxia species blinked his 4 eyes as he stared at the file. It was titled, "For When You Finally Understand." He hesitated, looked around, and played it. The screen flashed to life. It was a human, a woman with sharp eyes, a steady voice, and a calm presence. She wore no insignia, no rank, no medals, but somehow she carried more authority than 100 council members combined. "My name is Era Voss," she began, "and if you're watching this, it means you finally realized what you did." Relic leaned closer, his fingers trembling. The human woman continued, "You believed we'd beg. You believed we'd kneel. You believed we needed you." She smiled, "But we never did." Relic stopped the recording and ran to the council chamber. He slammed the file onto the main screen. "Everyone must see this," he said. Breathless, This is the truth." The chamber grew still as the recording played. Dozens of alien leaders watched in silence. Even Vorik leaned forward, his pride forgotten. "I served the council for 20 years, Era's voice said. I believed in unity, in peace, in shared strength. But time after time your laws weren't about peace. They were about control." Images appeared on the screen, of human ships being blocked at gates, of Earth colonies being taxed into poverty, of diplomats being insulted, of aid being delayed. It was a silent war, 1,000 cuts, but the final blow came with the Omega Law. "You thought we'd stay silent forever," Era said. "So we chose true silence." The video ended with one line, written in glowing white letters. "Humanity walks alone now." Lear broke the silence first. "How did this get here?" "It's a warning," Tilgar said softly. "Left behind by design." Vorik stood up slowly, like a man realizing he'd stepped into a trap years ago. "We were never in control," he whispered. "They let us think we were." Suddenly, alarms rang out in the chamber. A ship had entered the core systems, the Silent Ark. It moved without permission, ignored defenses, ignored codes, ignored fear. Council ships scrambled to intercept, but every system failed again. It was like the ship didn't care. Inside the Ark, Era stood at the edge of a massive chamber. In front of her was a glowing orb humming softly. It was Earth, not the planet, but the memory. A digital backup of every culture, every voice, every dream, safe, untouched, carried with them. "We left because they never saw our worth," she said to her crew, "but now they'll feel our absence." The Ark sent a burst of code through the stars. It was not a virus, not a threat. It was silence. Across council systems, all communication involving Earth vanished. Records gone, memories blurred, as if humanity had never existed. In a single moment, billions realized what they had lost, and it was too late to bring it back. The ghost planet. It was supposed to be just a rock, a dead planet orbiting a dying sun. No atmosphere, no signs of life, no records in any council chart. But when Patrol Unit 9Z approached the planet, something changed. Sensors blinked red, systems rebooted without command, and every officer heard the same sound in their helmet. A heartbeat. Lieutenant Frel tapped her helmet, confused. "Did anyone else hear that?" she asked. "Yes," came the reply from her squad. It was human. The ship slowed as it reached orbit. Below them, etched into the surface of the lifeless planet, were words, massive, glowing, unmistakable words. "We remember everything." Frel stepped back from the screen. That wasn't here before," she whispered. Command ordered a scan of the surface, but the scanners didn't respond. Instead, the ship received a file. No sender, no signal, just data. Inside it, videos, messages, names, faces, all human, all from the Council's hidden files. "This is everything they tried to erase," said one of the tech officers. "It's coming back." Back on Varela, panic erupted in the Council hall. The message from the ghost planet had reached them too. It was spreading across the galaxy, to schools, libraries, archives. Everywhere humans had been erased. Their history was now returning, louder than ever. "How?" screamed Lear, her wings buzzing wildly. "We deleted their records, destroyed their files." Tilgar shook his head slowly. "No," he said. "They let us think we did." Vorik watched in silence. He was beginning to see the full picture. Humans hadn't just left. They had planned everything, step by step, layer by layer. This was not exile. It was evolution. In the ghost planet's orbit, Frel's ship tried to leave, but their engines locked. Then the voice returned, this time over the ship's speakers, calm, human, and familiar. "You thought silence. It meant weakness," it said. "You were wrong." A hologram of Erebos appeared in front of them, but this wasn't a live transmission. It was a recording left behind like a time bomb. "If you're seeing this," she said, "then you've started looking for what you destroyed. But we didn't die. We didn't vanish. We became something more." The ghost planet began to crack open. Light poured out from beneath its surface, and from its core, rose ships, hundreds of them. Dark, sleek, powered by silence, ships with no flags, no names, only one shared purpose, to remember and to move on. Frel's ship was released and sent drifting away as the fleet rose. No weapons were fired, no words were spoken, only a signal was sent, a simple phrase. "We were never yours." The Council received it, and this time they didn't try to reply. They just watched, helpless. A new star was born in the system, and on its light rode the legacy of Earth, untouchable, undeniable, unstoppable, the girl who found Earth. In the quiet mountains of Zirelon Prime, a young alien girl named Karen played with her small sky drones. She was only 12 cycles old, curious, clever, and too smart for her teachers. She liked finding broken tech. Old relics from the time before humans vanished. Most kids avoided anything labeled pre-departure. But Karen loved it. She said the mystery made her feel alive. One day, while digging near an old crater, her scanner beeped. It had found something. She brushed away the dirt and pulled out a small box. Black metal, smooth edges, glowing softly in her hands. No markings, no buttons. Just one flickering word in old Earth script. "Remember." She ran home, eyes wide with excitement. Her father, a minor council officer, saw the box and turned pale. "Where did you get that?" he asked, voice shaking. Karen smiled. "In the crater," she said. "It was waiting." He grabbed the box and tried to destroy it, but it didn't break, didn't burn, didn't vanish. It simply pulsed stronger. Later that night, Aren heard a soft voice in her room. She opened her eyes and the box hovered in the air. A light emerged from it, a figure, human, not scary, not angry, just sad. "My name is Elias Rourke," the hologram said. "I was a historian on Earth. If you're seeing this, it means truth is still alive." Karen sat up, heart racing. "Are you a ghost?" she asked. The man smiled. "No," he said. "I'm a story." He showed her images of Earth, of oceans and cities and skies filled with birds, of laughter, music, books and dreams, of everything the Council had erased. She watched all night, and by morning she wasn't the same. At school, she told her class, Humans didn't disappear, she said. They chose to be free. Her teacher silenced her, called her father, reported her words, but the message spread. Other kids asked questions, some even found their own boxes. It was like the truth had been buried in every corner of the galaxy, just waiting for someone to care. The council couldn't stop it. They tried deleting files again, banning the word human, blocking all signals from the outer rim, but it was too late. Across worlds, in hidden places, children were learning, not from textbooks, but from the past humanity left behind. The silent arc had not come to fight, it had come to awaken. And Karen became the first voice in a new movement, not soldiers, not spies, but seekers, those who asked why the council was afraid of a people who never attacked, who just left. In her bedroom, Karen looked at the box again. It pulsed gently. She whispered, "Where are you now?" The box replied with a single star map, a distant point in space far beyond any known trade route, and below it, one word, home. The last code of Earth. His name was Draxon. Once, he was a high-ranking security agent in the Council's Shadow Division. Now he lived alone on a rusted station orbiting a dead star, forgotten, exiled, not for failure, but for asking one question too many. Why did the humans really leave? He had asked that question 15 years ago. They told him it was classified. Then they erased his clearance, then his records, then him. But Draxon wasn't finished. He had copies, secret backups of Council data, buried under layers of firewalls, encrypted with Earth's own security codes. One day, while scanning through broken systems, he found it, a blinking file, hidden deep in the folds of a ghost signal. It was called the Exodus Core. Draxon hesitated. His heart raced. This was what he had searched for half his life. He opened the file, and everything changed. It wasn't just a file. It was a plan, a blueprint written by the last leaders of Earth, step by step, not for war, not for revenge, but for disappearance. Every event had been calculated, every council insult, every denied vote, every delay in aid, predicted. They had known the council would break them, so humanity designed something new, a way to leave without dying, a way to survive without being controlled. They didn't flee, they evolved. The Exodus Core showed the Silent Ark's true purpose, not a weapon but a seed, a carrier of knowledge, history, and minds, billions of human consciousnesses, uploaded and stored, living inside the Ark, living beyond death, beyond flesh, beyond reach. Draxon's hands shook. They became digital gods, he whispered. The last page of the file was a message to anyone who found it. It read, "We trusted them once, never again. We left not to escape. We left to create." Draxon sat back, stunned. Humanity hadn't vanished. They had become something the galaxy wasn't ready for, a race of pure knowledge and memory, a civilization no longer tied to stars or bodies, only to will. The Council had pressed the button. Yes, but there was never a return path, only echoes. And now, the humans watched, from beyond, silent but never gone, in the shadows of forgotten sec. Tours, lights flickered in old machines, voices whispered in dead satellites, stories flowed through the dreams of alien children. Humanity was everywhere, not as rulers, not as invaders, but as reminders, reminders of what happens when you underestimate those who choose peace, reminders of what silence truly means. And for the first time in years, Draxon smiled, not out of fear, but out of awe. He whispered to the dark, "You didn't disappear. You became the stars." The day the stars stood still. They assigned historian Vel to record the final event, not a battle, not a treaty, just a silence. He sat inside the observation tower on Council World 1, the same tower where human ambassadors once gave speeches, the same place where Earth's voice had once echoed across the galaxy. Now the room was nearly empty, just a few old leaders and a tired historian, waiting for something they didn't understand. For weeks, rumors had spread that the Silent Ark would return, not to attack, but to show something, the last chapter of Earth's legacy. Suddenly, the sky above the Council turned dark. Stars blinked out, not from clouds or shadow, but from hundreds of massive shapes. The fleet of the Exodus, not one ship, but thousands, floating in perfect formation above the homeworld of those who once ruled over Earth. Then, a voice filled the minds of every living creature in the galaxy. It wasn't sound, it was thought. It was human. This is not a threat, the voice said. This is a lesson. From the sky, light rained down, not fire, not weapons, but memories, real memories, of Earth, of humans, singing, laughing, building, crying, hoping, a storm of truth across every mind. Leaders fell to their knees, children wept without knowing why. The stars seemed to pause, the galaxies held their breath, then came the final message, etched into the sky above the council tower in golden. Light, you erased our voice, so we became a chorus. You pressed the button, but we had already gone. And just like that, the fleet vanished. No light jump, no warp signature, just gone. Historian Vell sat frozen, his recording device blinked. Still running, still trying to capture what could never be captured. He looked at his notes and spoke aloud. For the record, he said softly, the humans were not lost. They were never weak. They simply refused to be forgotten. In the years that followed, alien children studied Earth's art and songs. Old council planets built statues of human thinkers, and in the deepest corners of the stars, explorers whispered tales of ships made of light, guided by voices of fire and sorrow and wonder. Earth was gone, but never erased because some stories refuse to die, and some goodbyes echo forever.